What's up, guys? What I do is every little treat today. Show you basically all of the games that I do have in my PlayStation 4 collection. Obviously, my collection for the PS4 is relatively smaller than obviously my collection for the PS2 and Xbox 360. Both of those collections are obviously quite larger in size compared to the size of my collection for the PS4. I mean, I've got quite a few, but not as I said, definitely not as many as I do have on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. It would probably take me a while to get through all of the games I have for the PS2. It took me a while to get through all of the games I have for the Xbox 360 when I did that video. And it would probably be the same for the PS2 as well. There's a lot of games there. Um, that obviously I would be showcasing. It would take me quite a while to do, and I reckon that would be a good video. I have been thinking about doing it, and I might do it. I might do a video on that, but it might take me a little bit of time. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the PlayStation 4 collection. So first set. So the first set, obviously, the first set here on top of my hard drive. So the first one we have is The Amazing Spider-Man. Now this is a game that I've wanted to pick up for a little while now. Obviously I wanted to, obviously I do have the remastered version of this game on PS5, on the PS5. I also wanted to have like the PS4, the copy for it for my PlayStation 4 as well. This came from Amazon and it cost me around 30. It cost me around 40 to between 40 and 45 pounds on Amazon. Um, so obviously great game time. Really like having this in my collection. I do have it installed on my PlayStation 4 as well. So yeah, definitely worth picking up. So next up we have Hillzone Shadowfall. So this was a game I picked up at CEX the other week. I was where is it? Minecraft Story Mode. Now what was funny was that with these two games, well I went into CEX the other week on Friday. Well not last Friday, the Friday before. I wasn't actually looking for these two games. I'd actually gone into CEX to look for the original Minecraft game to see if they had that in there, and I was trying to pick that up. Obviously, when they did have a copy of that in there, but it was 30 quid and I only had £20 budget. But I managed to get these two that were both within my budget. This was obviously Minecraft story mode game. So, this was £12. I got all of the DLCs, like all of the story, like one of the levels, or should I say, one of the chapters for this from PlayStation. Well, I downloaded them in game. Um, obviously, really, I actually quite like this. It's been quite fun to play. I'll probably be playing a little bit more of it again later. And we've also got obviously Hillzone Shadowfall now. This is a game I've actually spoken about before and said that I didn't like this game at all. And I said that well, it was never one of my favourite games. It was a game that I picked up a few years back and vowed never to pick up again. I just didn't enjoy it the first time I played it. But the other day I went back to play this and I actually really enjoyed it. I actually really got into it. I'm actually on to the next. I'm actually getting quite into this game now. As well as Fallout 4, which is the game that I have installed on my PlayStation 4. I don't actually have the disc version of it. I do have it obviously already downloaded on my PS4. But yeah, Hillside Shadow for another game that I didn't think I would get into, but there you go. Um, so those are the first three games, obviously, that I will showcase. Um, so obviously, as obviously the first one. So then we have ps4 2020. So this was obviously not a full game. Well, this was a full game. Obviously, football 2021 was obviously just a season update. Obviously that wasn't a full game. But obviously got eFootball 2020, one of my favourite games. Obviously a game that came out in 2019. which was the year before obviously the COVID pandemic started. And one of the games I really did enjoy playing, obviously we did get the Euro 2020 DLC on this. But yeah, really fun game to play, really one actually I really do enjoy. Next up we have PES 2019. I actually have every Pro Evolution game in my collection. So PES 2019, is it one of my favourite Pro Evos? Probably not. I would probably give that to PES, to like the earlier Pro Evo games. Like PES 6 was one of my favourites, and I got that for the Xbox 360 and also for PS2 as well. But we got PES 2019. Not a bad game. Pretty cheap now. Obviously it's been out for about 6 years, so it's quite cheap. Obviously, if you get it, obviously, whether that's on CEX or maybe Amazon or eBay, you'll get this. You'll probably get this for quite cheap. Same with this one, PES 2018. Again, you'll probably get this for quite a decent, quite cheap. You might be paying a lot of money for this game now because it's quite an old game. And PES 2018, it's not one of the newer games. It's like one of the old ones. But still a very fun game to play. One that I'm happy to have in my collection. Let's start PES 2017, a game that I do love playing on the PS4. Really, really fun. I really enjoy it actually. I mean, it's one of the better Pro Evos for me. I do like PES 17. Definitely not a bad game. PES 2016, obviously we had the Euro 2016 DLC with this, and love Neymar and other obviously really really cool. Obviously it's a really really fun game to pick up. Love having this in my collection. Really really good to play on the PS4, and PES 2016. So next up, PES 15. Now PES 2015, one of the the only PS4 this was like I think this was the first Pro Evo game that was actually released on the PS4 that came out in 2014. So it came out a year after the PS4 and Xbox One was released. And it was a really a fun game. I mean, graphically, it started to show. I mean, it's a 10-year-old game. It started to show its age a little bit. The player faces and things like that don't look great. I mean, what would you expect for a game that's almost 10 years old? I mean, nowadays the face stands and everything, the player faces and everything do look a lot better. Um, but in this game, they certainly weren't great. They certainly weren't. Um, they certainly weren't. They certainly weren't. All that awesome. If I'm being honest. Um, so let's start with UFC 1, another game that I ordered. This one came from eBay. Obviously, this was a game that obviously I got the other the other four UFC games in collection: UFC 1, 2, UFC 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I wanted to pick this up to see what it was like. Again, I've actually had quite a lot of fun playing this. I love the fact they have this, the first UFC game in this in my collection. So let's start WWE 2K17. Obviously, not one of my favorite 2K games. But I mean, obviously, this was, I mean, again, not, I mean, it's not a terrible game, but it is one of it isn't one of the best either, to be fair. So then next up we have WWE 2K16, which featured one of my favourite showcase modes, that being the showcase mode for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I absolutely love that showcase. Love how all of the legends that we had on this roster on the roster for this game as well. Obviously we had a lot of legends that were actually missing from the roster for 2K15. So 2K16 definitely 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 a game I picked up for the PS4. Next up, we have WWE 2K15. Now, this alongside WWE 2K20 is either one of the worst 2K games ever released. Obviously, the roster, the game in general was just very, very bare bones. I mean, the Xbox 360 version of this is a lot better than the PS4 version. The PS4. I mean, yeah, graphically the game was really good. As this was the first game that came out on the next gen consoles, but it is a very bare bones game. There's just not a lot to do in the game, and and the roster isn't that big really, to be honest. I feel like they could have done with a bigger roster for this game and just more to do in this game. You know, there's a lot more to do in WWE 2K14 in comparison to what what you could do in this. You know, so I mean, as I said, a lot more to do in the Xbox 360 version, but the PS4 version, not one of the best. Probably one of the worst, and I'll say 2K20. Next up, we have some Call of Duty title. Well, wait, Call of Duty title. It's Modern Warfare. A game that I do like to play. Obviously, not one of my favorite games from the Call of Duty series, but still a game I enjoy nonetheless. Then we have Sleeping Adults. Now, Sleeping Adults. They put these back. The rest of these back over to the side now. I've finished showcasing these off, so I don't need to have them over here now. Bear with me a moment. It's past 2015. That's one of my games. Bear with me. Right, there it is. That's all of those games. Spider-Man as well, as I showed you. I love this thing, man. Absolutely love it. So we've got Sleeping Dogs, is that still, but obviously, as you've got this thing there. I mean, I never, I think this came out on Xbox 360, but I never actually played it on that console. No, I never played this on the PS4, and I do like it actually, Sleeping Dogs. I find it quite fun. Next up we have Train Sim World, the first ever Train Sim World game that came out on consoles. And I remember seeing the trailers for this and being really excited about it and really wanted to go to game and then obviously pick this up. And obviously when we had game at Stratford, I went up to Stratford and got this. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously it's quite old now. Obviously it's about 7 years old now, but it's still quite fun to pick up and play with. It's one of those games that I still feel like I have a lot of fun with the original Train Sim World game, and absolutely 100%, like one of my favourites. So next up, we have the next set, which I will showcase now in the obviously we've shown those two already. We don't need those two. These are all the games now. So first up in this set, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. A game that I really do, and I like. I mean, it's not the worst game again in the Call of Duty series, but one that I do actually quite like playing. Actually, it's really fun. So we have Call of Duty World War 2 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, two games I did pick up fairly recently for the PS4. I got these again from Amazon. Obviously, I actually quite like these two Call of Duty games. I mean, I don't like the main game, like the best Call of Duty games in the series, but I like them. I think they're so much fun. Yeah, I think I have a great time with these two games. You know, if you want to pick them up, it's very easy to get these. Then they had these in CEX the other week when I went in there, but again, we're out of my budget unfortunately. So then we have Mafia 3. Obviously, again, game that I've played quite a few times. Obviously, got Mafia 3. One of my favourite Mafia games. I have played the other two Mafia games as well. Still debating on whether to get Mafia the Old Country when that comes out in August. But I do like this one. I can play one of my favourite protagonists in this game. One of my favourite Mafia protagonists. Definitely a game that I enjoy playing. This is 9 years old. This came out in 2016. I think it came out in October 2016, Matthew Freak. Then we have Call of Duty Black Ops 4, another game that, well, this one came from eBay. Um, Obviously not one that I was, that I felt bad about picking up. But I mean, this one's quite fun. This one did come from eBay. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, alongside Call of Duty Modern Warfare, that also came from eBay as well. Call of Duty Ghosts, um, a game that I've never played. I mean, I don't think I ever played this on the Xbox 360, but I've only ever played the PS4 version of it, and I much prefer it on the PS4. I think it's a really good game. I do enjoy the story mode on this game. I think it's really fun. And then we have Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I probably own every Call of Duty game there is, and that's not even a word of a lie. Then we're into the FIFAs. So FIFA 20, this was, and I should say lockdown FIFA. This was the game that a lot of people probably would have spent a lot of time playing on during lockdown. A lot of people have put a lot of hours into this game. Obviously, which is why it's always known as the lockdown FIFA. This one came out in September 2019, a year before the pandemic started, and obviously a game that everyone would have been playing when we went into lockdown that year. So yeah, FIFA 20, not one of my favourites, but I do like it. I think it's a fun game to play, and obviously it's worth picking up. So then we have obviously we have FIFA 19. This for me is up there probably as one of the worst FIFAs I've ever played. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of FIFA 19, but I don't enjoy playing it as much as the others. To be fair, I mean I play it from time to time, but not that often. So then we have FIFA 18 as well. FIFA 18. Um, Let me move these over there for a second. Let me move these to the side because I've really showcased those. Um, so as you can see, we've got FIFA 18. One of my favourite FIFAs, obviously, we got the 2018 World Cup DLC. This was the first game that we got where um, we didn't actually get a separate World Cup game of this. We only got the World Cup DLC. And I mean, I'm not saying that the 2018 FIFA World Cup DLC was the worst one, but I mean, it wasn't that great for the most part, but still enjoyable nonetheless. I do like FIFA 18, one of my favourites. FIFA 17. Now, a lot of big things highlighted with FIFA 17. This was the first FIFA game to use the Frostbite engine back in 2016, and a 9-year-old game now. This was also the first game where we actually had the face scan, like all of the face scans and everything for the managers in game. We hadn't had that before this game came out. FIFA 17 was the first game to actually introduce that. Obviously, not only did the players have their real faces, but also the managers now had their real faces as well, which I really liked. And it was one of those things that really stood out to me about FIFA 17 when it first came out. So really, I enjoy it. I did enjoy the journey as well, and Alex Hunter, quite a fun little thing to play. Obviously, we did get part two in FIFA 18 and the final part in 2019. But yeah, really, really fun game to pick up. I've already picked this one up already. So FIFA 16 now, obviously one of the this is 10. This is 10 years old now. FIFA 16. Now, one of the things that obviously stood out about this game was this was the first game where we actually they introduced women's football to the game. We did get the women, and obviously this was the first game where we had the women's international teams in the game, obviously represented in the game. We also had the licensing for the Bundesliga as well. That was one of the leagues that was licensed. A couple of years later in FIFA 18, and we would also have the La Liga branding and licensing as well. So that was quite fun. But obviously, this was the first game, and we've got a few different things like women's football, like women's international teams. We also got Bundesliga license in this game as well. I think this was obviously one of my favourites. I do love FIFA 16. It's one of my favourite FIFAs to pick up and play. This is one of those games, those FIFA games that I do pick up and play quite frequently because I enjoy it way more than a lot of the FIFAs that are out and that are out, that are out now, like the AFC games and stuff. For me, I much prefer these old games like FIFA 16. I feel like I spend a lot more time playing these games. So then obviously we have FIFA 15. Now, the good thing about FIFA 15 was this was the first game where we had the Premier League licensing in the game. Obviously, this was the first time where a lot of the Premier League teams featured their stadiums. We also saw a lot of players with real faces in game as well. This was a big deal for FIFA 15. Obviously, having the Premier League licensing in the game, and obviously having all the Premier League teams with their real stadiums, obviously, which they had in real life instead of all of the generic stadiums that you had in the older games. I mean, that wasn't a big, that wasn't a big deal for me. But it was one of the nice things about FIFA 15 was we did have this was the first game where we had the full Premier League licensing with this FIFA. So really nice little touch with that one. FIFA 14, now obviously there weren't really any major leagues that were licensed in this game. A lot of the teams still featured their generic stadiums. Obviously there wasn't too many players that had real faces as well. Some did, some didn't. Um, Now with FIFA 14, obviously we did, with this obviously we did get the World Cup base game, but players on the PS4 and Xbox One didn't get did only get the World Cup DLC. This was this you also had no tournament mode as well on the PS4 version of FIFA 14, which I don't understand why. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was there was a reason for that, but nonetheless, FIFA 14 still, probably one of my most favorite FIFAs of all time. Again, alongside FIFA 15 and FIFA 16, one of my favorite FIFAs to pick up and spend a little bit of time playing. Graphically, I think it still looks pretty good for a game that came out 11 years ago, well, 12 years ago. I think it still looks really good. I think a lot of the FIFA games still look really good graphically, to be honest. I think, they don't have, I don't think any of them look too bad graphics wise. I think a lot of them still look really good. And they're still really fun to play even all these years later. The fact that they might be old games, but they're still a lot of fun to play. If you have the opportunity to pick up and play them, you will have a lot of fun playing them because there's still so much fun to play. I think that's my opinion. Um, and I think that's all of the games I've actually showcased. I don't think there's any other games I need to showcase. I think I've showcased them all now. Um, but yeah, that is my collection for the PS4. Just thought I would showcase that. Obviously, give you guys an idea of what I have in my collection. Obviously, not any games in it that I would say are worst. Or that I would say I don't wish I didn't have in my collection, but there you go. So that is so that basically is it. Yeah. All of the games I have in my collection. I'm missing all the Duty games somewhere. There's the Advanced Warfare gone. That's maybe on all these lot. It's in the middle of all these lot. We want that, then it's that, then it's not that, that, and that. There we go. So that's those. And then these are all in order, aren't they? Yep, they're all in order. And then Minecraft Killzone. There we go. So that is my little PS4 collection. As I said, not a big collection, but still quite a lot of games in there. Obviously games that I enjoy having in my collection. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. That's it for me today. And I will be back tomorrow for another video. So make sure you do tune in for that one, obviously, and I'll see you for another video. So I will see you guys for another video tomorrow. I do hope you enjoy it. You enjoyed the video, well, the other two videos I put out earlier today. One that was recorded yesterday. There's one, obviously, I think there was one or two. There was one that I put out today as well. Hope you enjoyed that one. And yeah, I'll see you I hope you have an awesome rest of your evening. Hope you've enjoyed seeing the PS4 games that I've got in my collection. Hope I didn't bore you too much with that. I apologise if I did send you guys to sleep a little bit there, but yeah, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you for another one soon. Bye.